All right, what's going on, fellow Lumineers? We are back with another Ursula's Return set 4 preview for Disney Lorcana. Today we'll be going over the Emerald cards coming to this set. If you like Lorcana videos, be sure to like the video and subscribe, because we'll be doing videos like this for every single color up to the release of Ursula's Return on Friday. And with that out of the way, let's get right into it. Starting off for Emerald, we have Cricky. Cricky is a 5-cost inkable, 3 strength, 4 willpower, quest for 3 lore, with the ability Spreading Good Fortune. When you play this character, your other characters gain 3 attack this turn. This seems like a very strong card. It is very expensive for Emerald decks, but questing for 3 and giving the rest of your cards a bit of oomph for attack, pretty good. And then following that up, probably one of the more exciting cards for Emerald for this set, it's going to be Diablo Devoted Herald. It is a 3-cost uninkable, 2 strength, 2 willpower, quest for 1 lore. It has the special shift for Emerald, which is shift, discard an action card. It has evasive, and it has the ability circle far and wide. During each opponent's turn, whenever they draw a card while this character is exerted, you may draw a card. This is one of the more hype cards for Emerald for this set, giving this color a lot more card draw, and it's not easily challenged because it is evasive. This is something that even if you're not using the shift to play it on top of a Diablo, playing it on turn 3 is still very strong to get that card draw, and your opponent's going to need to deal with it, or you're gonna have a full hand. And then of course, this is one of the enchanted cards for Emerald this set. Diablo looking very cool with the alternate artwork. Speaking of Diablo, you are also going to get a 1 ink Diablo Maleficent Spy, 1 cost inkable, 1 strength, 2 willpower, with questing for 1, with the ability Scout Ahead. When you play this character, you may look at each opponent's hand. This is a great turn 1 card, especially when you're playing in a blind format where you don't know what the opponent's playing. Just having the ability to know what they have in their hand, and then also you can use this to get a turn 2 Diablo if you want to go that way. And following that, from Tangled, we have Gunther, Interior Designer. He is a 4-cost inkable, 3 strength, 3 willpower, questing for 2, with the ability Sad-Eyed Puppy. When this character is challenged and banished, each opponent chooses one of their characters and returns that card to their hand. So I think this is a little bit worse than some of the other like discard type of cards that Emerald had previously. You're not discarding it per se, you're not getting rid of it, you're not banishing it. It's just going back to their hand. But if the opponent is trying to dump their hand because you have a Prince John and you're getting those discard abilities out, this could be something where you combo this with your Prince John on the field and make your opponent just think of a little bit more about what they're going to have to bring back to their hand, because it probably get discarded your next turn. And next up we have Gus, the Champion of Cheese, 2-cost inkable, 2 strength, 3 willpower, questing for 1 lore. This is an okay 2-cost card. I know Amber's got the same stat line, same ink total Simba, but it has Bodyguard, so it's a little weird that this is vanilla, it doesn't have anything attached to it. Probably gonna need some synergies to come out with this card for it to be really useful. And following that, one of the cards that I'm super excited to play around with and test, it is Hades, Foul Player. It is a 4-cost inkable, 3 strength, 3 willpower, questing for 1, with the ability Get Down to Business. Exert and banish chosen character of yours. Play another character from your hand with the same name. This basically gives the shift ability to any card in your deck that has the same name as something on the field. And you get to play it for free, which opens up some crazy combinations. Maybe you play a super cheap. I think what makes this card really unique is the fact that you can still play it very low to the ground. You don't really need to go into your 5-6 ink, and you can still utilize trading up to get that card. Like you can play a 1-drop Stitch New Dog in Emerald and then trade it out for your big Stitch Surfer. I can't wait to get my hands on this card. It's something that even if it's not meta, I just want to play around with it. It sounds like a very fun ability to use. And next up we have a Hey Hey card, Clumsy Rooster. It is a 3-cost inkable, 2 strength, 3 willpower, questing for 2 lore, with the ability Let's Fatten You Up. When you play this character, if an opponent has more cards in their inkwell than you may put the top card of your deck into the inkwell face down and exerted. This is a great counter if you're playing Emerald and you're playing against a Sapphire deck that's ramping. This allows you to claw back and not get too far behind, or you can even skip inking a turn because Hey Hey is going to ink for you. Now, if you're going second, I think you would want to play this on turn 4. When you have 3 ink, the opponent's going to have at least 4 ink if they've been inking every turn, regardless of what color they use. Then because you only have 3 ink, you'll go up to 4 with this, and you still have the ability to ink from your hand, which would put you ahead of the curve and put you at 5 if you're looking to build up a ramp that way. Really cool ability, and because he's inkable, doesn't hurt to have 4 copies of him in the deck. It's pretty cool. Next up, we have Hera, Queen of the Gods. 3 cost, inkable, 1 strength, 3 willpower, 1 lore. Hera's gonna have the ward tag, so your opponents can't challenge it with songs or with characters' abilities. It also comes with she also comes with 2 abilities. First one is Protective Goddess. Your character's name Zeus, also gain ward. And then You're a True Hero. Your character's name Hercules, gain evasive. And then of course we had a Gus card, so we also are getting a Jacques card, the Connoisseur of Climbing. 3 cost, inkable, 1 strength, 4 willpower, questing for 2 with the ability Sneaky Idea. When you play this character, chosen opposing character gains Reckless their next turn. This is a pretty fun ability. Usually I like to put Reckless on something that they want you to attack, so your Merfolk, your Flynn Rider. It could also be used to get like a Pluto or maybe even a Cogsworth to attack when they don't really want to exert it all. So very, very cool ability. Like seeing it on a 3 cost card, pretty cool. And next up we have a Jasmine card. Jasmine, Desert Warrior, 5 cost, uninkable, 3 strength, 3 willpower, questing for 2, with the ability Smart Maneuver. When you play this character and whenever this character is challenged, the challenging player chooses and discards a card. This card is a little bit expensive, but it is pretty strong. It's got the Flynn Rider or the Merfolk ability, but also when you play it, and it's going to be a threat, questing for 3. A little bit tankier than those cards, so it'll be surviving a little bit longer. I think that justifies the 5 cost. I just think it might be a little bit too expensive unless we see some Emerald Ramp decks really coming into the format. This might be a little bit expensive to play in like a discard deck. And next up we have Meg, Captivating Cynic. 3 cost, uninkable, 3 strength, 6 willpower, questing for 2, with the ability Shady Deal. When you play this character, choose and discard a card or banish this character. This is pretty cool. It's kind of like the bounce package that Amethyst has, but Emerald seems to be more of the discard focused color. So really playing into that here. I think if you get really ahead with card draw, having to discard a card here, or maybe you also have the Hey Hey for next turn, so you'll make up an ink on the back end. Very strong card to put out turn 3. Pretty good. And then next we have another Meg card, the Liberated one. 5 cost, inkable, 4 strength, 4 willpower, questing for 2. Has the ward text on card with the ability People Always Do Crazy Things. Whenever you play a character named Hercules, you may ready this character. So they're really starting to really go all in with these theme builds, letting characters and cards play off each other, especially if they're in the same movie franchise. This is a pretty strong card, especially if you come up with some kind of Hercules movie theme deck. This could be really cool. Speaking of Hercules, another character from that franchise, it'll be Pain, Immortal Sidekick. 3 cost, inkable, 2 strength, 4 willpower, questing for 2 lore. We also get Panic, which you'll notice it is a continuation card, which is pretty cool. Panic, also Immortal Sidekick, 4 cost, inkable, 3 strength, 3 willpower, questing for 2 lore, with the ability Reporting for Duty. While this character exerted, if you have a character named Pain in play, your villain characters can't be challenged. Now, Pain and Panic are not villains themselves, they're storyborn allies. I like this one a lot more than the Pain, but you do need Pain for this ability to work. So all in all, pretty expensive to do the combo just right, but if you get it, it'll be pretty cool. And then coming up next, we're going to be taking a look at one of the first Pegasus cards. It's Pegasus Cloud Racer. 5 cost, inkable, 3 strength, 3 willpower, questing for 2. It is a shift 3 card with evasive with the ability Hop On. When you play this character, if you use shift to play him, your characters gain evasive until the start of your next turn. This is really cool because it gives you evasive until your next turn, which could be used to get a lot more lore if you were doing an aggro version of the deck, especially if your opponent doesn't have a way to necessarily answer evasive. This will let you go really wide and then benefit from that low cost, low to ground playstyle. I typically like running aggro decks because they tend to be a little bit more math focused. You have to kind of put the puzzle pieces together to figure out how to get to 20 lore. So I think could be really cool to combo and basically steal 2 turns worth of lore from your opponent. And of course, you're going to need a Pegasus to use for a shift target. We've got the 1-drop Pegasus gift for Hercules. 1 cost, inkable, 1 strength, 1 willpower, quest for 1 lore. This character also has evasive. This is probably one of the strongest new turn 1 drops from the entire set. And if you use the other Pegasus, this could be really strong to get a turn 3 super wide board. And then following up on that, we have Pete, Born to Cheat. 2 cost, uninkable, 2 strength, 3 willpower, questing for 1, with the ability I Clobber You. Whenever this character quests, while he has 5 strength or more, return chosen character with 2 strength or less to player's hand. This is a card that you're going to pretty much need to combo with your support characters, or maybe even with the big queen from Amber. There was an Alice in an earlier set that did a very similar thing where you need a bunch of strength on that card in order to do the ability. I think this is a lot harder to make good use out of, especially since support really hasn't been competitive, but all the magical characters revolve around support a lot, so maybe this will be something that gets used more. And following up on that, another Pete card, Pete Rotten Guy. 4 cost, inkable, 1 strength, 5 willpower, with 2 lore. This is a pretty strong quester, a little bit more on the expensive side, 4 cost, just for the 2 lore, but it's gonna stay on the field, survive a bit longer than some of those other early game characters in Emerald will. And next up we have Prince Philip, Slayer of Enemies. He is a 9 cost, inkable, 6 strength, 6 willpower, questing for 3 lore. This character does have shift. It'll be shift 6 to play him. He does come with evasive, with the ability Strike to the Heart. When you play this character, banish all opposing characters with at least 1 damage counter. This is a super expensive card, but the ability to maybe play Grab Your Sword with something and then play this onto a Prince Philip to wipe the entire board with no answer, but all your cards get to stay on the field. This could be really strong. It relies a lot on combos, and Emerald really never goes up to those high ink totals like 9. But maybe if you're playing with Steel, getting your Tinkerbells, getting your Grab Your Swords, maybe this can see more play. It is a very strong card. And then of course, you're gonna need a cheaper Prince Philip in the deck. So you got Prince Philip, Warden of the Woods, 4 cost, uninkable, 3 strength, 4 willpower, questing for 2. With the ability Shining Beacon, your other hero characters gain ward. This is nice. He has an ability that you can kind of just throw him out onto the field and he can just stay there, which means you can then later use that Prince Philip as the shift target. There are so many characters that have the hero tag that you really don't need to go too far out of the box to build a hero themed deck and get use out of this card. You'll probably hit that along the way with the normal characters that you're coming around with, but this one seems pretty good. I especially like it when you're playing against mid-range control. So maybe if you're playing against Ruby, you don't need to worry anymore about Madame Medusa. You also don't need to worry about Lady Tremaine. And then against Steel, really you only need to still worry about Grab Your Sword, but the pick and choose spells like Strength of the Raging Fire or Storm Rage On, they won't be able to affect those other characters. Also coming in Emerald, we have another 1-drop, the Fates, only 1 eye. 1 cost, inkable, 2 strength, 1 willpower, quest for 1 lore, with the ability All Will Be Seen. When you play this character, look at the top card of each opponent's deck. This is interesting. Maybe if you're able to combo this with a card that lets you see their hand, late game, this could help you strategize something good to win and your opponent won't see it coming because you know what card's coming. Interesting. I think it being a 1-drop, it being very weak, I don't think this is going to see much play, but anything that gives you information about your opponent is generally pretty good. All right, and next up we have the Muses, Proclaimers from Heroes. It is 4 cost, inkable, 2 strength, 4 willpower, questing for 1. It has ward, and the ability is the Gospel Truth. Whenever you play a song, you may return a chosen character with 2 strength or less to their player's hand. This is a pretty strong card that can just sit out in the field for you. You can use this to keep some of your cards safe. You can use this to clear the field early game from your opponent. I think a fun use of this is if you also have Ursula, Deceiver of All, you can sing twice and return something of theirs. Maybe you return Ursula, and then you can just play it again and it won't be targetable for that turn, even though it's sung for you. And next up we have Tor. He is a florist from Tangled, 5 cost, inkable, 4 strength, 7 willpower, 1 lore. This is a big dude for Emerald. I don't think Emerald typically wants to play with these types of cards, so probably not really useful, but cool card. Pretty cool card all in all. And then finally, our last character for Emerald is going to be Zeus, Mr. Lightning Bolts. 3 cost, inkable, 0 strength, 5 willpower, questing for 2 lore with the ability target practice. Whenever this character challenges another character, he gets strength equal to the strength of chosen character this turn. So this kind of seems like a good counter card. Anytime your opponent plays anything with a high attack, you can copy that and take it out with this card. Or if you're able to get a big card on your side of the field, you can copy that and do big damage. And moving on to the actions, we've got Dodge with Donald Duck. 2 cost, inkable. Chosen character gains ward and evasive until the start of your next turn. This is pretty good. Your card will more or less be targetable for most cases. Sure, if they have evasive, they can target it. Sure, if they have a board-wide ability, they could target it. But pretty cool to give some sort of protection to maybe you have a very important card that you need for a combo next turn. Following up on that, we have another action here with Make the Potion. 2 cost, uninkable, and this one gives you an option. You can either banish an item or deal 2 damage to an already damaged character. I like the ability to pick and choose what you want to do based on the situation. If you're playing against aggro, this is something that you could use. If you're playing against ramp with items, this is something that you can use as well. Pretty good. And next up, we have the Sing Together card for Emerald. It is Under the Sea, 8 cost, uninkable, Sing Together 8, and it reads, put all opposing characters with 2 strength or less on the bottom of their player's decks in any order. Now, normally this card is just very good in general, especially against your low to the ground aggro decks. But when you combo it with some of the other cards coming out in this set, where you're going to be able to take strength away from certain characters, this card here could be used to fully swing the board state into your favor. And by putting it on the bottom of the player's deck, your opponent's got no way to instantly answer it, and you potentially punish them for going super aggro or for playing something that they've been holding on to. Another action for Emerald is Ursula's Trickery, 1 cost, uninkable. Each opponent may choose and discard a card. For each opponent who doesn't, you draw a card. So when you combo this with your Prince John, you're throwing it back to your opponent and you're saying, hey, either way, I'm going to draw a card because I'm playing this card. So do you want to discard or do you want to just let me draw? And then one more final action song for Emerald. It's going to be We Don't Talk About Bruno, 5 cost, inkable. Return chosen character to their player's hand. Then that player discards a card at random. This is the first time we're seeing a bit of randomness in the game. I think it's going to be very fun to bounce something and then oops, you discarded that thing. Or if you're playing with a Prince John, this could be really good to play and force something into the discard pile without even needing to attack it. And I think this is going to be a menace of a card. I'm also just thinking, if you mix this together with something that could boost Ursula's song power, you could potentially sing this with her, and then you're just making players pick up their board and discard it. And one of the coolest enchanteds in the entire set for a non-character, it's going to be We Don't Talk About Bruno. Awesome artwork with the rats and the doors. This is a very beautiful card. Moving now to the items for Emerald, we've got the Hidden Inkcaster, 2 cost, uninkable, with 2 abilities. First one's going to be Fresh Ink. When you play this item, draw a card. And the second one's going to be Unexpected Treasure. All cards in your hand count as having inkable. This is a fun card that really unlocks a playstyle that we really haven't seen, which is to load up on your uninkables, especially for Emerald, who traditionally doesn't have that many options for card draw or getting ink. Playing this at turn 2, replacing itself with the draw a card, and then the second ability making it so you can ink anything in your hand. Beautiful, beautiful card. Another item Emerald is getting is Signed Contract. It is a 2 cost, inkable with the ability Fine Print. Whenever an opponent plays a song, you may draw a card. This will be great against Steel Song, especially when they start playing their aerials. They're pulling songs from their deck. You get to draw cards as well. I really, really like this card. And then also, because it is inkable, there's going to be certain matchups where you just get rid of this because you know your opponent's not playing songs. But it's pretty good against Amethyst. It's pretty good against Emerald. Really good against Steel and Amber. I think Ruby and Sapphire would be probably the area where you would want to get rid of this. Now, if it gets late game enough and you know be prepared to coming, that's good enough too. And finally, the last item for Emerald in this set is going to be Vision Slab. It is a 3-cost inkable with 2 abilities. Danger Revealed. At the start of your turn, if an opposing character has damage, gain 1 lore, and the ability Trapped. Damage counters cannot be removed. This is a great card to counter like your Rapunzel players that are healing and drawing cards. Then you're going to be able to keep getting lore as if you had maybe like a location out. If you can combo this with something where you might ping something big for 1, and then you just keep getting lore every turn and they have no way to remove it. And let's say you make it so they have no way to challenge your side. Very, very strong card. And then last up for Emerald, let's talk about the locations coming. We've got Hidden Cove, Tranquil Haven. It is a 1-cost inkable, 1 to move and 6 willpower with Revitalizing Waters. Characters get +1 strength and +1 willpower while here. I like that this is a very cheap card to get out, and it makes all your characters a lot more effective for battling while they're there. Pretty cool. And then finally, the final card coming to Emerald for this set is going to be Ursula's Garden, Full of the Unfortunate, 4-cost inkable, 2 cost to move, 7 willpower, 1 lore every turn, with the ability Abandon Hope. While you have an exerted character here, opposing characters get -1 lore. This is a very expensive card to get going and get set up, so I'm not sure how useful it's going to be, but if you're playing against something aggro and you need to stall the game out, this could be something to look forward to. What do you think? What cards from Emerald are you really excited to get your hands on and play around with? I know for me, the Diablo and the Hades are my top 2. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. We'll be back tomorrow with an overview of all the Ruby cards coming to the game on Friday when the set launches. See ya.